Hello. It's getting harder and harder to preach the gospel, or so it seems, at least. You start to talk to people and you realise how much of an uphill struggle it can be just to try and get them to reflect upon their own lives in a way that means that they don't get defensive. And indeed, you look at some interactions with other people, and what you see is it's almost two people with megaphones shouting at each other. And I think what's happening is we've forgotten something very, very important, and that is academic argument is not evangelism. Apologetics is not evangelism. Having clever philosophical arguments which prove this, which prove that, which prove the other, is not evangelism. You see, human beings aren't logical machines. We're capable of logic, we're capable of rational thought, but there's more to us than that. And indeed, although we're becoming more and more individualistic, there is always, with every human being, an overarching society. In Philippians chapter 2, St. Paul tells us to let this mind be in you, being the mind of Christ. Which means that it isn't just a matter of the heart, and it isn't just a matter of the head. There is some whole principle going on here. There is a mind of Christ, a mindset, we might say, a worldview, a way of looking at things that we always carry with us. And this is why argumentation doesn't work. Because two people from different worldviews will never really be able to appreciate the strength of the argument of the other. So what you are left with is just a whole collection of words being thrown at you. Now, that is going to make evangelism very difficult. What needs to be happening is there needs to be some, in the person whom we're trying to reach, there needs to be some awareness that there is something outside their worldview that is desirable. All human beings are longing for something. Ultimately, what they're longing for is God. But if you want that mindset where there is no God, where you've pushed God out of that mindset, then you have longing for all kinds of things. The Germans have a lovely word for it. You end up with a sort of Weltschmerz. This sort of dissatisfaction with everything, but you can never put your finger on it. And it doesn't matter how eloquent we are as Christians. We are not going to convince people by argument. Arguments can help. St. Peter tells us always to have a reason for the hope that we have within us. We are to dialogue with people, and you can see St. Paul in the Areopagus conversing with the philosophers there. But human beings aren't all philosophers. You're not going to convince the atheist on the street that they are in need of salvation, because it's something completely alien to them. And indeed, if they're one of these now new atheists, whereby they are much more in tune with their atheism, that they know why they don't believe, and will make sure that you know why they don't believe as well. That's going to be part of the problem. They're not going to let go. People don't leave their mindset unless there's a very, very good reason. There has to be something attractive in something else, a way of looking at life that's addictive. It's why the modern culture is quite addictive, because people see in that satisfaction of desires which they'd never appreciated before. So really, what do we do? And there's actually one very simple answer. We have to live authentically as Christians. It means we need to take the quest for holiness seriously, holiness for ourselves, but sanctifying everything around us. Because God, whether atheists like it or not, God is the most attractive being. We are built to desire God. And again, there may be atheists who are watching this who say, oh, don't be so silly, there's no God, you're talking out of your hat. Well, yes, but that's the Christian mindset. We have to have our minds set on Christ. We have to have the mind of Christ. And we have to remember this strange itinerant preacher in the 1st century going around Israel, going around the Sea of Galilee and in Jerusalem, just attracting crowds by his personality, by his teaching, by his miracles, by the whole package. He wasn't a one-hit wonder. And then we have him rising from the dead. There's something attractive about that. A man who can cheat death. So the Christian is called not just to be holy himself, but to sanctify, to make things holy around him. And we do that by living the Christian life authentically, with the right motivation. We let the mind of Christ be in us. We have to think how Christ thinks. We have to reason how Christ reasons. We have to love how Christ loves. That's a huge, huge challenge. And that's why we're in the church together. We are encouraging each other, so that we're not at war with human beings. We're at war with principalities and powers. We're fighting against these mindsets that would seek to convince people and pull them away. We have to stop that. We stop it in ourselves, we stop it in our church, we stop the modern world from we stop the modern way of thinking taking over our churches, which is happening so much, which is why Christianity is struggling here in the West, because the individualistic mindset is taking over. We have to be going back to Christ authentically, and back to those 2 commandments, to love God and to love each other. There are no other commandments greater than those. So God bless you. God bless you if you are trying to proclaim the faith as best you can. God bless you that you may succeed because you have sought Christ in your own life. God bless you if you are struggling against temptations to change your mind and leave the Christian faith. And God bless you as you struggle for holiness and seeking out the kingdom of God. God bless you. God bless you, and please pray for me.